Hey guys, my name is Zack.
I'm Dean.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Joost.
Welcome to this very special bonus episode of Collecting Weekly. It's a weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us as weekend collecting.
That's right.
We are joined by a longtime friend of the show. Joost, you were actually, I think, our first real interview.
Yeah, I think I was in episode 5 or something like that.
Yeah, way back in the day. And we're bringing it full circle. You've obviously had a ton of cool projects that you've been working on. You've been extremely busy with all kinds of fan supporter requests. You're one of the busiest guys in the biz, and I thought it'd be great to catch up with you and kind of see how things are going. So how are you doing? How's your family with all this craziness that's going on in the world?
Well, we're actually we're out of the woods. We didn't have any corona issues, but as I think I've put on my site, my youngest son had Lyme's disease in a very rare case where it affected his brain. So, but the treatment's done, and he seems to have pulled through good. So that was our only concern, and for the rest, we love hanging out together over here in the Netherlands. School works very well remotely, so we're kind of doing very well, especially considering some of the stuff you see and hear. So yeah, thank God for that, at least.
Yeah, we're in kind of the midst of it right now. I think it seems like every day in our city there's more and more people that are getting sick, and obviously the United States, I think we have Dean, I think it's something like over 1 million cases so far in the country, which is
I know today they just extended our stay indoors thing until I think almost end of this month, until May.
Yeah, that's
already
wild.
Today. So
that's crazy. So Joost, on your Jazz Inc Dioramas Facebook group, you shared a really neat video. It was your family, and I guess you had got them a little bit of a surprise, a gift. And that was such a genuine video to see. I mean, the Facebook these days is nothing but, people arguing about politics and amendment rights and coronavirus. It was nice to just have like a little peek of your family life, and it seemed like your whole family was really excited for this UCS Falcon. What was there a special occasion that you guys purchased this for, or was it just a nice little thing you guys wanted to do for the kids?
Well, we've had this on our list for years, ever since the thing came out, and it's a bit of a tradition, the Lego thing. I mean, when there were like holidays, we didn't want to just sit behind the television all the time and do stuff together. So my wife's really into board games, but the boys and me, we really liked Lego. So we built that, and we a couple of summers ago, it was really, really bad weather, and I got the Superstar Destroyer, I think it was.
Yeah.
We had such a blast building that together, and now my eldest he's 16, so we were like, we visited Legoland, and I almost bought it, like that was 2 years ago, and so I'd been saving up for this from the day job money, and finally we got the money, and so I thought this would be a cool project if you're on lockdown, time to spend with the family. So we've been doing this build for the last 10 days, and
I was gonna say that's an extensive build.
It was.
Ian, you're big into Lego. Do you have the UCS Falcon? I see you have a Yoda there in the background.
No, I haven't got the patience. To be fair, I've got the Force Awakens Falcon, and that nearly killed me. So,
yeah, I know what you mean. I built this little baby car, and it took us like an hour, and I was like, it was just awful. Right, our kid was in the table trying to grab all the pieces, and
every year
it was happening live.
Every year my missus gets me Lego for Christmas. Problem is, I can't tell the difference between shades. So when I got the Yoda, the whole coat is just beige. But what they do is they draw a really thin red line around the bits you're meant to be building. So I opened up the manual and I was like, "What?" Because I couldn't see the red line. I was like, "How? what? What the fuck am I meant to do? I can't. So literally, the sides and the coat, I just had to try and piece together. It was so frustrating. So I can't even imagine how annoyed I'd be with the UCS Falcon.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. That's I know Rainer has one, and he also has several UCS sets, and they just look ridiculous.
Rainer bought me my first Lego set, and he got me the UCS Slave 1. It's still in the box because I don't build Lego. So I'm like, dude, I can't start with a UCS. Those are for, big time collectors. So I still have yet to buy a set to build myself. But yeah, I just have the Slave 1 in a box.
How many pieces is that one then?
Oh, 2,000 something.
800,000 or something. I don't know.
I could be wrong.
Joost, so you, like we mentioned earlier, you're a busy guy. One of the coolest things I think I've ever seen, which was also the topic of our last interview, was the 1/6 scale Justice Mobile. This week you put up some pictures of your rubber tire work in progress. You also have some amazing shots here. You can see Batman fitting really nice inside the cockpit there. I'll be honest, I'm just amazed that you were able to achieve that, given that figure, just the way it poses. What were some of the challenges that you faced in this build? Because it was a really tall task, and I know, when we first talked about it, there was so many things that you had to figure out to get this to be the way it was. How has that build gone?
Yeah, well, the picture you got up right now, I think that's I did different parts, but I think this is version 8 or something like that. If you look at the different versions we went through, if you remember, I think around the time we talked, we're working on the smaller scale one just to work out most of the kinks at the cheaper prototype level, and this because there was a lot of stuff that was added, because you said this is a community-fed project. It was initiated through the community, and there's feedback, but there were also like requests, because right now you're looking at the requested diorama base that we had to add, but also the conversion kit, because we started off with the BVS mobile. And people were like, oh man, but I really like the Justice League version better. And then people were asking, would you be able to switch them out? Because there weren't that many parts. And like the projects I start, I always underestimated. We can do this. And so turns out there were quite a lot more differences than I initially thought. But and then the thing that we had to figure out for this one is having a 6 scale figure, like you said, this one is quite hard to pose. And then you have a figure that has no give, a chair that has no give. How do you pose that so it looks natural, but also have it look good when you don't have a figure in there? Because you could like mold a dented chair with like butt cheeks in there, but that would look wrong. And so we've learned quite a few tricks to make this work, even though the chair, it had to be slightly different than the real thing because of that limitation, Yeah,
I mean, I really think you nailed it. I mean, I was just trying to think like how you could get it to fit, and I think in my head I was like, okay, you got to probably take the cape off. You'll probably have to take the boots off to get him low enough in there. Is there any modifications that a collector will need to do to get their figure to fit in the cockpit, or is it pretty straightforward?
It should be pretty straightforward. It really does depend on which version you put in there. And I will say that it will make your job a lot easier if you just take off the boots. That way you get a little bit more flexibility in the posing. But we did what the reason I'm talking about version 8 mostly was the cockpit and the leg room, and starting from all the real reference stuff, we had to modify quite a bit there to make it to make that work. So I believe Could you scroll back one picture? I believe
Yeah, sure.
I kept the cape on, or didn't I? No, I took it
Kind of
off.
hard to tell. That's
No,
that's
no,
why
I took it off. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It does fit, but it looked very messy and wrong because it's quite a huge bit of fabric. So I think I decided to take it off because of that. But it does fit, and most versions should be able to fit even with the boots in it, but you won't be able to see the boots anyway. So
Yeah, you gotta hide those crimes. That's always a big thing with customizing is hiding the crimes. I know there's some people out there that really would like to see you tackle the 1/12 scale Batmobile, and
Right.
I think from what I could tell, I think you said you would need at least 100 people committed to in order to, I guess, start that project.
Yeah.
Where are you guys at right now? I think from what I saw, you need 17 more people that are interested in a 1/12 scale.
Well, actually, I got a message through Instagram today, this afternoon, said where the guy said he passed 100.
Oh wow!
But we did the same thing for the other request. The Batcave computer setup.
Yeah,
we got a list together of enough people, and nearly half of them backed out when it was time to put your money where your mouth is. So having the yes and actually getting it, that's not the same. But it does look like it might happen. But the thing is, we do these very limited run custom stuff, and for such a complex vehicle, there's just a lot of fixed costs just with the molds, and also we can do a little less prototyping because we've learned from this, but you have to figure wall thicknessing and release angles. Those are going to be different on a 12 scale figure, which means that you'll have to readjust some of the engineering and redo some of that. And those fixed costs, they're going to be the same if you make 5 or if you make 100. But if you can divide them over 100 people, then it might become attainable. I mean, usually in the 12 scale community, though, people are used to stuff costing, for a figure, what is that, $30, and a vehicle, maybe 100.
Yeah.
So, but you have to sell and make tens of thousands to get that kind of price, and we don't do that, not even a little bit. So
yeah, and you mentioned that these are small batch run products, and I know a big thing of like a marker of that is the custom made plaques that come with a lot of your projects. Do you want to talk about those? I think that's new from the last time that we interviewed you to this time.
Yeah, well, we make everything to order, and so Justin, the one you put up here, is one of the guys to order the Justice Mobile very early. So I was some other guy was asking me, what does the plate look like, and I was like, yeah, I have to start that design. So this is the design we made for that, and so everyone who orders one of the 6 scale units will have them custom made for them, and will have their name, so that the thing is made for them. So basically, that's all it really is. And
I love it.
So yeah.
We have a listener question here from Red Wolf. He says, are there any plans to make items that were made but weren't well received? I think I've seen in the past you've made some statements that you don't really want to tackle things that other companies have made. I know particularly with the Falcon cockpit and with the Batmobile, I think you waited to start production until Hot Toys officially confirmed that they were in fact not going to make those products.
Yeah.
What is your stance on that, on revisiting things that weren't that well received in the past?
No, I don't want to retread the stuff that the official channels have done already, basically.
Yeah.
I think apart from the fact that it's just me and my dad, and now my son and my wife in a very small part-time gig making custom stuff, that's cool. But if you start competing, I'll have some too.
Yeah, right.
But if you start doing stuff that other companies are doing, it doesn't feel right,
Yeah, especially if people are choosing not to get theirs, if you're also making one. I think that could be a problem. We also had some comments from your Facebook group of people that had some questions, specifically about the 12 scale Batmobile, and this is kind of one of your biggest projects, so we're going to spend a little bit of time here if that's all right with you.
Yeah, right.
But they wanted to know on the 1/12 scale, how would the detail compare to the 1/6 scale? Would it be as detailed, a little less? I know you kind of touched on it just a little bit. 1/12 scale figures are a little different than 6 scale.
Yeah.
Do you foresee you using a lot of the designs and references for the 6 scale and just basically cutting them in half? Or I guess, is there a certain figure that you have in mind? Because I think for Batman, Mafex and Figuarts has one. So, and those are both 1/12 scale, but they are both different, slightly different sizes and different articulations. How do you manage like which figure you'll make it for? I know with Hot Toys, they're the only company that makes a 6 scale Batman, so it's a little more uniform. Have you thought about that subject yet?
Well, no, not really. The thing that we always go for is maximum accuracy. So when it comes to scaling it down, I would really just want to stick to the actual 1/12 scale compared to the actual vehicle. So, but then again, if that would give fit problems, that might require some tricks. On the other hand, the 12 scale figures that I have seen are usually quite flexible and easier to pose. Is that true for the 12 scale Batman? Does anyone know?
I think so. I've had the I want to say it's the Mafex BVS Batman. I don't think I really had any problems posing that. I was able to get it in pretty much. I think, Dean, don't you own that Batman? Didn't I sell it to you? I think.
Sorry, I knew I was muted. Yeah, you did, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that was a good figure. So, yeah, I just I don't think you'd have the same problems personally. They also ask if you did make a
Let me
Batman.
address the other question that they did ask. So, as far as detail goes, technically, I wouldn't be that limited if I scale it down. But what you're doing is you're working towards a budget, because I could always do and include more features, but the number of people we get, that's the budget that the group has. And so I always strive for maximum realism. And if I have to do some compromising, then do it at the least visible parts. So to answer that question, technically we could do it as detailed as the picture you see here.
Yeah.
And do exactly 1/12 scale, because we got the exact measurements, and then the budget would determine how close we get to this picture, and the budget is determined by how many people get on board and how big the group is we do this with.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited because we have, I think we have a guy that lives pretty close to us that has the 1/6 scale Batmobile coming in, and I'm hoping once the coronavirus settles down, we'll be able to go out to his place and do some almost like a 4K mini review showcase.
Who's the guy?
Brian Steven,
the
guy that hooks us up with the digital codes.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for that because I know Greg has some of your stuff, and I've been meaning to check out that as well. But this particular project, since we've actually featured it on the channel, I would love to be able to see this in person. And yeah, I'm really excited for that. Another question on the 1/12, they kind of want to know, do you think that you'll make a conversion kit for the Justice League Batmobile as well? I guess that might depend on the budget also.
Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, engineering wise, the tricky bits have been done. So yeah, quite possibly if we get enough people to support making the molds for that in 1/12 scale, it's very doable.
Yeah, we also we just put it on your Facebook group that we're live, so hopefully we'll have some of your Jazz Inc Dioramas members join us here in a little bit. I know you mentioned that there is a big difference between getting 100 people to commit verbally versus getting 100 people to put a sort of a deposit down. If once you hit, now that you've hit the 100, what process do you go into to start getting those confirmed people that are super actually interested and willing to put down for that project?
Right. So what I've done now is with some of the suppliers that we've used for this project, I've asked some quotes to just for parts or molds, and I'm making calculations based on those 100 people and see and get the final price, because we did indicate a range, but then we get the final price. And what I've recently done is just make a 0% down plan, give that a month, and if we just don't get the numbers within the month, everything gets canceled, no money needs to get refunded. And then if we do get the numbers, everything can just go ahead like a normal order, and we can just start like we did with the Batmobile. I mean, I think what that has shown is what the community can do if we work together. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the art box. The only reason we can offer an art box is because we have a fan who works in the print business and is offering to do them at cost. Same with some of the molds we're making. It's all very grassroots, fan supported stuff. So for the 1/12 stuff, as more and more people get on board and more feature requests come in, we can just add more stuff. Yeah, exactly. This is for the Falcon, but exactly, yeah. So and now that people have seen we're good for our word and try to deliver, or I allow myself to get pushed more and more and try stuff out of my comfort zone. It would be cool to do this in 1/12 scale, I must say.
Yeah, you're an absolute saint, because it seems like every day people are asking you on your group,
I was about
"Hey,
to
Joost,
say
can you
that.
make this? Can you make this?" And it's almost become like a meme. I think, like, outside of your group, where anytime anything happens, there's like a meme. It's like, Joost, like, well, you got to get 100 people, and it's bless your heart, man. That's, you guys really.
Yeah, you'll post a new project, and then in the comments, it's like 8 different people asking you for 8 different projects. It's like, guys, chill out.
I love the one where they asked for a 6-scale Death Star.
Yeah. and then the guy that's like taking it too literal is like, guys, it's actually going to be like 2,000 miles big, and it's like, well, it was just a joke. And the 0% plans are pretty smart, because right now, the way the world is and currency fluctuations, just being able to commit for a month with no money down is just really smart. I just think it's a really good move on your part. You are also working on a 1989 Batwing, based on the ad that you put on your website. You'll basically just be making like 12 or a number of these, and they'll basically be prototypes. You're not actually doing a sort of scale production like you're doing with your other dioramas or the Batmobile. Can you walk us through what exactly that means, and maybe give us a little bit of an update on how this project is going?
Yeah, this one is a bit of a headache project right now, I must say. We've gotten several source files, even with like the Warner Brothers logo on there with size and stuff. And so we went from the most common size and started designing everything. And so when all that was done, it turns out that size was quite wrong. And even though people said we had to make it smaller, it turns out it's even bigger. And so we had to like guesstimate what would be a workable size. So what we've done now is redesign the cockpit to a different size and see if we can fit the figure in there and scale everything from there. So like with the Iron Scavenger figure, we had to go back to the drawing board for a different reason. The wings were just getting too heavy. And so this one also required quite a bit of redesign. And let me look. I might have a picture somewhere of the 3D printed prototype of the cockpit that is very close to done, actually. Well, I'll look for that later. But yeah, so this one, well, we do have quite a bit of time. I mean, that's not releasing until early next year. But right now, it turns out that both files with the official logo on there were wrong when it comes to size. Don't know how they handled this on the set, but yeah, that's pretty much where we're at with this thing.
That's interesting that the actual official stuff is not accurate.
Nope.
It almost makes you wonder, like, how, like, they probably only built a part of this thing, and then you know, the scale is based on that one part, but you know, bringing it into a real object that, you know, is fully intact. I'm trying to think. There was a movie recently, like The Rocketeer, for example. There's 3 different suits in that movie, and they all look super similar, but they're all designed for specific, like a scene where he's in a fight, like the suit is totally different, and then a scene where they're actually using the rocket, the dimensions of everything is totally different because they actually have to be safe for the actor, and the helmet's different, the fin is a different shape, and it's all based on the actual scene that it's being used in.
It's the same for the Falcon cockpit, because I remember people were asking me, and then we got the numbers, and I said, okay, let's do it. And one of the first questions was, okay, which one are you making? And I'm like, which one? The Falcon cockpit. Yeah, but which one? Because there's like the full scale one in the studio, and they made one on the Docking Bay 94 set, and then another in A New Hope for the scene where they get in the tractor beam. And then they have 2 different scale models. One is the 5-footer, I forget the name of the other one, and they all have quite different dimensions. And if you look closely, next time you see the movie, just look for the cockpit, and especially the front and the glass. Those are different, quite significantly different on the different scales. So it's tricky, but
yeah. So next up, I know this is kind of the big project that you've been posting quite a bit about, and I gotta say, I am super impressed by this. This is the 1/6 scale Batman Spotlight. I'm honestly just blown away, or the Signal rather. I'm just blown away by this. This is fine work, my friend. You have many different silhouettes here, and I'm just so impressed. I know when we last talked, you were looking into making things that could be used on more than one specific figure. So, you know, this one, I mean, you have so many different, I guess, insignias of different Batmen, and can you walk us through a little bit of the design process for this piece, and maybe tell us what silhouettes you've decided to include? Because, I mean, if almost any Batman collector can find value in this, and, you know, Batman is kind of like the guy in DC, and so to have something that can be used with any number of figures is just, I mean, I just got to tip my hat to you. That's amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, well, the fun thing is that this is going back to the roots, because with the most complex stuff like the cockpit and like the Justice Mobile, there's a lot of 3D design and engineering and like SLA industrial grade printing and stuff. Whereas when we started, we did a lot on a local CNC company, where we could just actually work with metal and get the stuff bent into shape or whatever, or routed, you know. And for this project, we were able to go back to that, and it is very cool that for this part we can actually make it from metal parts, and even for the production pieces, so you have something that's got some real presence and real heft to it, in the look and feel. So we found like an aluminum tube that had the exact right diameter for this thing in 6 scale, and we started from that, and the rest is just, it's all machined metal, what you see here. And because it's metal, we could use magnets so that the logos just switch out with the magnets. Of course, there are still some issues, as you can see. There was some scaling issues when we got it from the drawing into this the laser cutter for the logo, so the size is wrong. And there were some geometry issues. If you look at the bottom of the 1989 logo, the points aren't pointy. So we have to redo them. But I was just so excited, and I was doing the painting and weathering on the first prototype anyway. So I thought, let's make these, and hopefully people understand that this isn't the final product, and we're working from that. Another cool thing is that it's just what's the word? I think it's an E27 standard large fitting, so you can put in a hue light, control it with your app or whatever. It's a very fun thing to have.
Yeah, and I know I think it was your most recent update, you were saying you wanted this to be able people to change the bulb if they needed to,
Yeah.
or do some routine maintenance. I guess this is an LED fixture that's inside the unit, right? I know that was a question that was asked on one of our live shows, but we weren't 100% sure.
Well, the E29 fitting can accept a lot of different lights, but basically everything is LED now.
Yeah.
Right now we've got what is it, 100 watt LED in there, so that was 1500 lumen. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I have an aquarium, and I think the LED that I have, which is stupid bright, is like 80 watts. So I can't even imagine 100 watts. It's blinding. Have you like shined it on a wall yet and just seen how it looks?
Yeah, and it faintly showed it, but I think with the logo being so small, a lot of light reflects around it, and
I see.
And maybe we need to even go brighter, because this is the beauty of the community feedback. I mean, first off, the idea to do this, then the idea to get switchable logos, then the idea to get the lights replaceable, so I wanted maximum brightness, and if you want maximum brightness, halogen lights are by far the brightest, which is like the construction lights. I don't know if those, but then I got feedback is, whoa, if you're like in California where it's quite hot all the time, or in Nevada or whatever, halogen, it's a real nightmare stuff. So I had to drop that idea. And now I'm hoping I can find an E27 light that's bright enough. Well, it'll blind you if you look straight into it, but it's bright enough to really throw that silhouette up there.
Yeah, Manny is saying that he just sent me a text. He said it might not even be possible to, like, that the signal might not really work like that in real life. Like if there was an actual 1-to-1 scale signal with the logo on it. I think you're right. They would have so much of that reflecting right back into the light. It might just make it, might be a movie trick.
For the movie, I checked. Those are definitely, even in an 89, it's quite easy to see that's movie magic.
Yeah. Carlos Martinez says, any updates on the Batcave? So we are actually going to talk about that right now. So the 1/6 scale Batcave, this was another project that you were seeking interest for. And do you have an update? What was that?
I was approached for it. So yeah. I think we're there, or near enough that I'm saying we're going to go ahead. So this project is definitely happening.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I didn't share that video with you, but I've already done some tests where if you've seen maybe you've seen it on my Facebook group, where I've actually, for the DX version, I actually have 6 screens that rotate through the actual.
They cycle different.
Yeah, exactly. And so I got a lot from the community. I got a lot of reference material, including the actual screens. So it wasn't like a screen capture or anything. It was the actual images on that screen. I don't know how they got them, but they sent them to me. So the DX version is going to be quite epic, and I get a metal feeling from this desk. What about you guys?
What do you think, Dean?
Yeah, that. Oh man, that's gonna be so sweet. That matte, like I guess aluminum would be sweet. I don't know how expensive that would be, but like a matte brushed aluminum.
It is what I'm thinking. If you could just bend it, because the shape really does work well if you just bend metal, at least for the desktop. That's what I'm thinking now. You think?
I was actually going to ask you about the screens.
Yeah.
How you would accomplish that, or if you could also, because this is more of a bat flick Batman, right?
Right.
I'm wondering if you could even just have kind of like the light with the different Batman logos, have like different Batman screens for other Batman, and you could like futz in a different Batman.
Oh yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
That's the cool thing about Batman is he's got all the gadgets no matter when or where he's at.
Yeah, it wouldn't like if you had the Arkham bats, you could put it in there and it wouldn't look out of place.
Right.
Yeah, and if you because these screens are just gonna I've been experimenting with. Have you ever heard of a Raspberry Pi computer?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I've written a script that will just as soon as you power up the screen, you just apply power to it. It will cycle through images in a certain folder on a micro SD card.
Ooh,
that's nice.
So you could even upload your own photos.
Yeah, no problem.
So you could even
watch a movie.
Yeah, or like I have some Daft Punk figures, which are they're musicians.
Right. Yeah.
I could even have like musical stuff on the screens if I really wanted to, and have them on.
Sure.
That's smart. That's a really good idea.
I like that. That's really, really clever.
Yeah. So the thing is, running 2 screens off a Raspberry Pi is a nightmare. Running 6, I've got a couple ideas I'm working on. But the other thing you have to worry about is the thickness of the screen with the Raspberry Pi behind it, or otherwise having wires to it like mini HDMI, and those would look out of scale.
That's true.
But I've got a few things lying around on my desk. I have my own little Batcave with the with all kind of technical gadget stuff that I'm working on. So I'll get this sorted. No question. I've got something that I'm already quite happy with. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, what kind of screens would you be using? Like
LCDs.
I guess in 6 scale they'd be what, maybe like the size of a phone?
Yeah, I think they're bigger. 9-inch.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm really underestimating the size of this thing.
Yeah. This I think it's how much is it? Oh, I'm so bad at the imperial measurements, but this thing is going to be 55 centimeters wide, so it's as wide as what else?
Just over half a meter, then.
Yeah. Definitely. Wow. Yeah. And so I think because there's two sizes, the 4 in the center, I think those are 7-inch, and the 2 on the side, those are 9-inch. Those are slightly larger. If you look closely at the picture you see on the left top, you can see that the 2 center screens are smaller than the 2 outside screens.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Now I'm assuming you're also going to make that sweet ass chair.
Yeah. Did you know you could actually buy that in 1:1 scale?
Can you
really?
Yeah. Like I said, the community has sent me some excellent stuff. We figured out the rack units. I don't know if you know what rack units are. That's what DJs use, or like in studios.
Lighting fixtures and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So they've used some really cheap Behringer DJ mix consoles in there. So we're making them in 1/6 scale, and then the computer is the keyboard is a Microsoft split keyboard. We can just 3D scan. But the chair, you can actually buy that 1:1 scale, $1,200.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I bought the wrong office chair, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Dude, if I had that, I would 100% just put all the CW stuff on there.
I would record this podcast facing the other way if I had that chair. Just so everyone can see it. That was an awesome.
I'd put
chair.
Dean's OnlyFans on there if I had it. Yeah, so that's really good news to hear that project has been funded. I know the Iron Scavenger, you touched on it a little bit earlier, that you guys had to do some changes to the production because of the weight of the wings. I mean, this is a massive apparatus. How's that project going? Because this is, this is multimedia. This is 3D stuff. I mean, this is like a whole full figure that you're building. I'm just amazed that you're taking on that challenge.
Again, I underestimated the challenge when I said yes, I do it. But oh man, I just love that figure. I just imagine it on top of I have like 3 detals or details, I don't know what you say, with figures, and then on top of that, just have Spider-Man chased by the vulture. I want that, So this thing is a little over 1 meter in wingspan. And so the traditional, so the traditional ways to reproduce that just made it too heavy. And if you look at the prototypes that Hot Toys showed on the San Diego Comic-Con and all that, those shows, you see like a 3-pronged posable support. So one for the figure and one for each wing. And so I'm thinking they have the same problem. And so right now we're trying to engineer it so that we might be able to do without the 3 prongs and just have it on the one posable flight stand. But we did have to, because the shape it's technically the same, but because the reproduction methods, all the angles, the release angles, the molding, everything is different. So you just had to start over. And we did get some awesome reference material. So this one is very much more accurate, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you said with the new references, you actually added a bit of dimension. I think it was something like 10-15% bigger in dimension than you had originally estimated.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Quite a bit.
And what's the price on this one?
$594 US.
That's pretty good, and that's painted, finished, good to go.
Yeah, with multimedia and the
That's a great price, man. That's a great price.
I mean, that actually includes a figure of.
Yeah, and the helmet, and the jacket, and the pants.
Crazy.
And then the what is that? What is that? 4 foot? Ian, do you know?
4 foot will be 90 centimeters.
God,
oh, it's more. So it's more.
It's like 120, 130 centimeters, I think.
I went far off then.
I mean, a little bit. But Ian,
it's going to be huge.
Hey, there you go. There we go.
China.
Oh God! Please don't ever do that again. Ian, you do a lot of custom kits and builds, and I mean that's a pretty reasonable price, right, for a full figure like this? I know you do a lot of indie stuff.
That's a mental price. Like that's when you think about all the effort and aggro that goes into making it. It's it's way less than I ever thought it would be.
Even like commissioning somebody to make a jacket in that scale, a flight jacket like he has.
Oh, it's tremendous.
Would easily be $200.
I asked the tailor
a little
to
bit
do
more.
me. Yeah, I asked the tailor to do me a Han Solo Bespin jacket once, and I got a quote back of about $500 US just for a jacket.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got. I
No,
recently looked into getting a Rocketeer jacket commissioned in like a leather, and it was up there. It was yeah, and that's just the jacket. That's not the rocket pack
Yeah.
or anything else.
Yeah, Zach, remember when you started making your Deckard?
Yeah, just the outfit was $600 for
Yeah.
Deckard.
So when you said this cost $600, I was like, does that include the figure? Because you still gotta make the jacket, the pants, the leg like armor.
Yeah,
the
and I hope people
helmet,
realize that.
like,
I mean, Joost is really doing this is a true passion project. This is not
Yeah.
like he's charging that amount and just raking in the cash. I mean, this is a tremendous amount of research and development and prototypes, and
yeah.
definitely someone that is a true saint of the community, because no one, even Hot Toys, would touch this figure.
It's just we just want to make enough so that we have a bit of margin for like service issues or whatever, and then to have enough to fund the next project. And like I think I've said this before, but if you look at the hourly wages I make here, I should be working at a Chinese sweatshop. But that's not the point. That's not the point of this,
Right.
If the beauty of stuff you buy with this kind of community project is that you'll know that way more than 80% of your money goes straight into the project that you buy. It's not marketing, it's not nothing, and so you can't run a business that way. So I'm not criticizing the actual businesses, because that's no way to stay alive in this business, because I don't have to. I can do this and make it accessible and make it fun, and that's why I can keep doing what I love to do. I mean, that's why people come back, I think.
Yeah, you're not Todd McFarlane.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah,
dude.
charging people for stuff you've already have done.
Dude's a goddamn millionaire. Can't even, has people lining out the door to get autographs, and then he starts a goddamn Patreon. My God, what a greedy bastard! Or a Kickstarter rather. Yeah, we started a Patreon, but Joost, this is just tremendous work. I'm really hoping we can find someone in Texas that has one of these. I think Eric Ruiz. Vaguely remember he's going to order one. If he does, Dean, we might have to make a trip out to a 4 or 5 hour trip to go and see it. I think that'd be a good use of a weekend. What do you think, Dean?
Eric has a lot of stuff, so that'd be cool. And
we can actually double up, because I think he has the X34, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be.
And then he also has several dioramas of yours.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be a bad road trip. He said he wanted to do a bonfire, but it was like the weekend that Corona hit, and I was like, I'm gonna skip that bonfire because I'm not trying to die. You have
I think it's a good goal. Goal.
Yeah, to get back to normal. These are some shots here of your Falcon cockpit diorama, and this is stunning.
I want one so bad.
I'm jealous.
You're looking at several phases of completion here, and several different versions too. So let me explain what you're looking at. Left top screen, that is the nearly finished inside of the standard version with just the strip lights, and the rest is painted on. All that needed to be added to the one on the left was a little bit more weathering on the chairs, because that and the door opening. And the same goes for the back. That was also the standard version, but then the wiring and the weathering had yet to be added. If you're looking at the center picture, that is the finished interior of the DX version, with actually close to 150 lights you can see in that cockpit.
And how much is the DX?
$12.99, I think.
I need to go to the bank. I need one of these. I don't have anywhere to put it, but oh my goodness.
Yeah, and this thing, and the DX will come with a sound module and speakers and a remote, so you can have like all the sounds with like "Chewie, get us out of here" and all that sort of thing, and of course the lights. And this thing is quite big too. I mean, this is again 0.5 meter in diameter, and then lengthwise 74 centimeters. You'll have to work out the inches and feet, but it's quite a big unit, quite a big
beast.
When is the projected release date for this?
I hope to have the first production samples assembled by the end of May.
Damn,
Oh,
that's
wow.
so close.
Yeah, but just those are like what I get is I ask 5 parts from all my suppliers, and of course we make our own stuff, and then I just assemble 5 to see everything is good, and I just say, okay, everything is good, run with it, and everybody starts to do their job, and then I get for the rest of the run, I get the parts in, and I think we will ship July, probably August for the cockpit.
What's that shipping cost?
Oh, that's pretty good around to the US. I've got like a 40% discount with FedEx, so that's probably around $90.
Damn,
That's
a good discount.
really good, actually. Considering how large that is, dang.
Yeah, I had I screwed up recently, and I sent I forget something to someone in the States, and he had to ship it on to someone else, and he was charged twice for the stuff within the US, what I pay to get it from the Netherlands to the US.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I just and you pay what I pay, so it's the same.
Danny Lee told me I should get it.
Carlos says you're the hero Gotham deserves, but not the one it needs right now. So we'll hunt him because he can take it. Because he's not a hero, he's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, a dark knight. What a guy! What a guy! So you mentioned a few times that you do a lot of production samples, and you mentioned that you're on like version 8 of the Batmobile. What do you do with these almost finished prototypes that don't make it to the final stage? Do you just keep them for your collection? Do you sell those?
Well, for, version 8 doesn't mean there are 8 prototypes because that would be too expensive. Plus, usually for again to just save cost, we can reproduce parts of it. So what I would have right now is 2. I think there's 2 finished prototypes, but they don't have all the features yet.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a guy who really wants to buy them from me. So because I don't have the money or the space to keep everything I make. So
Joost, let me know if you're selling any almost finished Batmobiles.
Joost, I have a question for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, let's just say I order the Falcon DX, and by the time I get it, something terrible has happened, and the LEDs don't work. And I message you, and maybe get like an LED kit or something. How easy are these to like work on, or like once they're assembled, that's it? And now I have to send it back to you.
For the Falcon, you might have to send that back.
Okay, because like looking at it, I don't see like screw holes. I don't see any it looks flawless, so I don't see any way of like getting a screwdriver in there and fiddling with it.
So what we do is, that's the beauty of LED, is if you get the right LEDs, you can get them with like a 10,000 hour burn time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete!
What up, Pete? Sweet angel.
So did you get your son to bed all right?
Oh no!
Oh no, Pete, we can't hear you. Damn it, Pete. Pete, make sure your mic is selected.
He just starts talking.
Oh my God. We can actually have Pete.
Pete.
We can actually have Pete. Yeah, we can have Pete in this stream without talking, and he might have said just as much as Ian. So
the whole mute.
I feel bad hogging the conversation.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, what a guy!
What a handsome guy!
Look at this guy.
Cable.
Look at this dude. Actually, I just want to do the rest of the show just like this. Dude, look at that, dude. He's got that quarantine glow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Handsome guy.
So distinguished, salt and pepper.
Thank you.
The Mance. What a guy. Anyways, Pete, so we're talking about the obviously the Falcon cockpit. You can see here. Great job with the slides. Mario says in the chat, is the Falcon cockpit still available for pre-order? Is that closed already?
I think for the cockpit, I can because I try to leave it open as long as possible, and since I will wait to close it until I'm happy with the production samples, and then I can determine the number of people who've ordered it. Those will be made to order, so you'll still have close to a month.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you want one, definitely get in because they will not last forever. Sean Fury in the chat says, "Hey guys, Sean's actually the guy I really wanted us to have you on for a third interview." So
Yeah.
I was
thanks,
like,
Sean.
I would love to have Joost, and I think he actually found us from our first interview with you.
Oh, cool.
So that's really cool. But yeah, so let's go on here. We have the Andor Bridge diorama. This is one of the newest ones that you've shown. And I know you mentioned a few times that you have some other people that work with you. Did you want to give them any shout outs? Any of your cohorts in this?
Yeah, so this is Robert Drescher. He's a fellow Dutchie. And I'm not sure if I'm giving away too much, but he's figured out a way to get some really cool 3D modeling going. So what you're seeing here is he's also the guy who did the basic work for the Haas diorama. So he's figured out a way to get these 3D models imported and made. And so you're looking at a rough test version. Unfortunately, I think this might be the first of the 0% down that is not going to make it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I really like this.
Yeah, I was going to say this is such a simple, like, diorama, but such an awesome scene.
Like
That,
iconic, right?
Yeah, and you get, like with the Falcon, for me personally, I don't have the room for it. But like this, I could easily pop that in a DTOF.
Right,
That's
exactly.
wild.
What would be the at what point do you kill a project?
Well, I give it a month.
Okay.
So, and we're I think halfway there for this one. But so far, we're way behind on what on the normal projects, and maybe it's because this wasn't initiated by the group. I don't know.
Oh, they're picky, huh?
No, but the other one was such a grassroots, and there's a lot of demand for it, and people wanted it, and then let's get together and do it. And this one just popped up, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the first one.
Is there? Would he like maybe like sell the files, or maybe even you sell the files on your site, or because this looks?
I would have to ask him.
Yeah, because this looks pretty straightforward for anyone who has a 3D printer.
Right.
Maybe some light finishing, and then painting and weathering if you really want to go that far. But this is such an awesome scene. Like,
yeah, it's iconic, right?
It's so good.
Yeah. So I was
Absolutely.
yeah. But you know what? We have like 2 or 2.5 weeks to go. Who knows? Maybe if people see this, and otherwise, just hit me up, and I'll just talk to Robert and see what we can do to sort you guys out. That's just fine.
Yeah, we can also plug this on CW this week. See if we can get some extra, the extra people to get in on it. Carlos asks one more question. If we pre-order something like the Batmobile that is supposed to finish soon, but we have a long-term payment plan, will there be any issues with that?
No.
Okay.
If you start a payment plan, one of the things that might be good to mention is we've recently updated the plugins that we use for the payment plans and the site. So if you buy something on the site, please register for an account and make sure that you buy something through that account, not as a guest. Then if you go to your account section, you can just see the plan and see where you're at. But also if you decide, like you buy the Batmobile on a 9-month payment plan, but you want it sooner, you can just go to your account and pay it off sooner. And if you want, I'll just hold it for you for 9 months. That's no problem. That's all part of the deal.
What a guy. Danny Lee asks, what will the assembly be like for the Falcon cockpit?
I want to say 0, but there's negligible. You'll get it fully painted and assembled, and like with the land speeder. I mean, we've made the engines magnetic now, so you get a box, and you pop on the engines, and you get a translucent piece of perspex. You float the thing on, and you're done. So that's going to be the same for this.
I just did the math, and that's only $140 a month for that Falcon.
Dude, you spend way more on that on random
Jolly
stuff.
Ranchers.
Dude, you're making this real hard for me, Zach.
You spend way more on that on Uber Eats.
Well, you didn't need to go there.
Hey, I do too, man. I'm a thick boy.
Because I'm really mad that I didn't get this land speeder.
Yeah, I was tempted. I had one in the basket, and I was like, I haven't got anywhere to put it.
If you listen to all the episodes where we talk about the land speeder, I'm like,
you're like on the brink,
dude. I'm so mad I didn't get it.
Well, there is so the reason we're talking about the X34, it was our first interview with Joost, but you're on the second batch of these, and from all indications, they seem to be really well received by the community. Joost, what was the feedback that you got on this one?
Yeah, that was surprising, and since we usually just do one batch, so the fact that we even got enough people together to start up a second batch with the suppliers, that was quite amazing. And like I said, we could do the little tweaks with the engine and making that magnetic. We're actually quite happy with it. This was the first one where we found out how incredibly difficult it is to get a figure inside a vehicle, and there's also different versions of this one. So which one are you making? And because the one with the wheels and the mirror in front of the wheels that they use is very different from the one on the pole mechanism. And so it's quite tricky, especially if you want to have 3PO sitting in the back and all that sort of thing. So this one was also challenging in its own way, but the fact that we've gotten enough people together to do a second batch, that's rare. That's very rare. So that's cool.
Yeah, I have an idea for a build, and I don't really know how possible it'd be, Joost. You got to make 1-to-1 scale the child prams to go with the Hot Toys and Sideshow figures. I'm telling you,
that's a hot market.
It's a hot market right now. I'm telling you, Joost, this Baby Yoda released in our city yesterday. We got dudes selling them for $200, offering their entire collections to get one.
Oh man,
they are ridiculous. That's a hot market. I would definitely, and I'm not sure how many files you use, but the files are all out there for the pram. So, it might be something you might want to consider. But this
you have to make it float.
Well, you might have to put a product disclaimer. Dean's grinds my gears from several months ago, but some people get upset when their figures can't float like the figure.
You can float stuff with magnets, can't you? There was that Back to the Future car that came out a couple of years ago that was floating, and you could spin it round.
Yeah. You see that we've actually looked into that for the land speeder. Do you know that
it's hard to get things to float like that?
This thing is 75 centimeters and weighs a few kilos.
Yeah.
The magnets and the power supply we needed to get that thing to float is ridiculous. So that wasn't enough.
You're also working here on the final batch of the cargo holds. This is stunning as well.
This is the one I'd want, I think, if I bought one. Yeah.
I mean, it's a classic scene. You can use this for the old trilogy, the original trilogy rather,
so
and then
frustrating
the trilogy.
Because I don't know, like a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago, I really decided to narrow my Star Wars collecting to A New Hope. So it's like the Falcon cockpit, the cargo the land speeder. It's like, God damn, I need one of them.
That's a lot of control, Dino, because a lot of the Empire costumes are fantastic. I couldn't not collect Empire stuff as well.
Yeah. Well, luckily with the A New Hope, you got the TIE pilot, Sand Trooper, Stormtrooper. I mean, I do have some other ones like a Shore Trooper. But...
Yeah. We finally got around to making the extension kit for this, or at least we're very making quite great progress on the design for this, and stunningly, most people want to be want to get the entire cargo hold, and that's like a meter by a meter.
I think like in 10 years time, Joost is going to just have actually built an
entire
entire 1/6 Falcon
yeah.
from all the people like, hey, can you make the entry ramp, or can you make the gunner's cockpit, or
You know that part where Han and Leia kiss for the first time?
can we make that?
Yeah, can we get that little hallway?
And Joost just be like, fuck it, we're just going to build the whole
Remember
thing.
when R2 falls in the hole? Yeah, can we get that whole thing?
So the is the extension to this the control panel with hands, seat and stuff that would go to the right of that.
Yeah, that's the basic extension. Yeah, so that's making the other half of that back wall, and then the wall that goes behind the engineering station, the chair. There's a little computer there, I think, and then so that completes the entire front of the diorama. But there's this is actually a quarter. What you're seeing here is a quarter of the real cargo hold. So the DX extension kit gives you the 3 other quarters to get the entire cargo hold, including
that's
beautiful.
That's mental. But
so you may have already answered this to the guys before I come on. But where do you get the designs for this? Is it all stuff that is fairly readily available in manuals and books, or do you just have to eyeball a lot of it from stills and watching the film?
Yeah, mostly the second part. There's a lot of stuff out there, but the thing you missed with like the bat wing, even the stuff that looked very official, like we got some design drawings that had the actual Warner Brothers logo on them. We for the bat wing, we did everything based on that. Turns out it was entirely wrong. You can't even fit a figure in there. So, and with this stuff, there's a beautiful book called The Star Wars Blueprints.
Yep, I might have had that. I think.
Yeah, and that has a very promising title. Not so many promising results, because many of them are initial sketches, but what ended up being built is quite different.
Yeah,
same goes for so. We could use like the size reference for the height of the bench and the back wall, but that's basically it. And the rest is just designing from a lot of stills. And I'm very thankful to have like Wikipedia pages with the height of the actors, because I usually use known references like that to get the scale right.
Yep.
So
I usually just do all my scale in factor of goats. So how many goats?
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I just anytime. So there's like a meme on our show. I built an ensemble for my T-Rex.
for the
goat. Yeah, so I just had a bunch of goats stacked on top of each other and found out how many goats high a T-Rex was, and found I bought like 7 goats on the internet, and they all came in, and I did like a goat, like ordered them from best to worst, and it was so now anytime I do anything, everyone's like, how many goats high is this? Yeah, so that would be a good shirt, Dean, just a bunch of goats stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
No one would get it, but I mean,
anyone know?
What's that?
How many goats high would the Falcon be?
Oh, I don't know. We gotta. As a matter of fact, Joost, on your website, just add how many
45.
goats wide something is.
Yeah. It's 18 goats, shoulder to shoulder, long.
And then you got to think: is it a billy goat? Is it a Then it gets too muddied. So, Danny Lee asks Joost, "What is your favorite piece you've created, and what is your dream project to make, no matter the size?"
Oh man, Danny, that is a tricky question. It's like choosing which of your kids is your favorite. I mean,
yeah, but everyone has one.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I'm gonna cop out a little bit because as a project, the Batmobile is it was the coolest project. It is such a cool and imposing thing to see, and it's just a beautiful design. However, the cockpit brings back more youth memories and nostalgia for me. So I'm going to say those two. So the Batmobile for the project and the way it looks and the presence that it has, but the emotional connection, that's definitely the cockpit. And so for the dream project, actually, I have this little notes list on my phone that is almost like a standard letter size length.
Gosh.
That I really want to do. You mentioned the cargo ramp, or the ramp, the Falcon ramp. That's on there.
Oh, that'd be
Oh, yeah. Do you get one of those to fit in a det-off? That'd be great. It's a bit big.
No, that's not gonna work.
No.
But dream project, Snowspeeder and sorry, TIE Fighter, Snowspeeder and TIE Fighter.
Yeah, they would be
Snowspeeder
sweet.
is definitely coming.
Dude, a TIE Fighter, the wing would be like as big as a table.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, but you know the beauty of the TIE Fighter is it's quite a simple design to ship because you can just take off the wings and people could just display the cockpit.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the Black Series one, and it was massive. I'm thinking,
Yeah, I have it sitting right behind me. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like huge, and I'm thinking, right, 1/6 scale. I mean,
they'd have to be what, 6-7 foot high, wouldn't they? Those.
Yeah. If I cleared out all my display cases, I could probably fit it in here.
It would be about the size of a dinner table. The wing.
Right.
Even though you got two of them.
I'd be up for a Snowspeeder. I've seen some really good scratch build ones of those that people have made.
Yeah, and the thing is, again, nostalgia, but the Snowspeeder is actually quite a small vehicle.
It is, yeah.
It's like the land speeder squared. So the length.
Yeah. It's doable, isn't it? Whereas an X-wing is here. I don't know if you've got the Lego Falcon used now, and I don't know if they're scaled properly, but I built a custom X-wing, and it's like half the length of the Falcon. They're pretty big for. Yeah, I know the Falcons are probably a bit small, but they're big, aren't they? I've seen someone with the 6-scale one, and they are huge.
If I had a nickel for every time somebody asked me to build an X-wing, but I'm thinking the size is just.
Yeah.
If I do that, probably the cockpit of an X-wing, something like that. The Snowspeeder. So Danny, answer your question. Snowspeeder's on the list. TIE Fighter, at least the cockpit, maybe for those who want it. I
have a TIE pilot. What are you targeting me specifically?
Zack, he's on to us, man. He's on to us.
Oh man, our master plan. Mario Cortez, are you doing any coupon codes available to order the cockpit?
Sorry, no. Like I said,
it's buy
there's
one
really not
at
much more
retail and get it at retail.
Yeah.
What about an ATST?
You guys feel cheated because this is my view on coupons. Don't you feel cheated if you think, okay, here's a 20% coupon, and you have to think they could at least break even, but probably even make money doing them at 20% off. So how much more money are you making normally? So I charge the minimum I have to, but I can't do coupons.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Mario.
Come on, Mario.
Sorry, Mario.
Mario.
Come on, guy. These are some of your.
Mario's never gonna listen to our show.
No.
Mario is actually a sweet angel and supported us on Patreon. So Mario, I take back everything I said.
Yeah, Mario, you're amazing.
So these are some of your customer images. Do you want to shout out some of these guys? I know this one here on the left in particular was a really interesting design because he combined two of your dioramas into one.
Yeah, isn't that epic? And I think he changed out the lights to even brighter stuff, and then he printed out some ArtStation image for the background, and he did a gorgeous job photographing it. I mean, he must have used like a front light or a reflector or something there, because those Death Star Hall is a really dark because most of the surface is black. So Pascal, I think, I don't know how you pronounce it, Pascal Lamour, gorgeous work. I think the custom Han on the right is also his.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the true scale carbon freezing chamber. That one, by the way, I am not doing a second runoff. That was a nightmare to make. So I think I have a handful of those left. If they're gone, they're gone. Same with I get the question for the wall mount. I'm not doing that again. Meditation chamber. I'm not doing that again. It's just it, man.
Because the
Yeah,
Death Star was one of your early. Was it your first piece, or that's the first I was aware of your work? The Death Star hallway.
The big one.
Yeah, because you were cutting. Were you cutting those out of aluminium sheets or something?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. Actually, it was just that. This is how it all started, because I made it for me. I liked it. I wanted something cool to display it, and because you've got these amazing, almost lifelike figures, and you put them there, and I thought if you could just bring the scene to life, that's something that really the figures deserve. So I made that for myself, and I never intended to sell that, because that was, again, over a meter by a half a meter, and then 45 centimeters deep. So this thing is huge. It's unshippable. And I remember it was the 39th guy who asked me if I could build him one. And he said, but what about like IKEA, redesign it so they can flat pack it? And I said, okay, if we get a dozen people together, let's try it. And so that's how it started. That's true.
It all began, yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
do you remember who sent this one for the Leia, the service corridor picture? Maybe shout out the guy who took this photo.
one. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I did not get a chance to quote the names here, but yeah, we put up a post here and on your group, and we had some people chime in. Give me 1 second.
Isn't it a shame, by the way, that the dress on that Leia, it's just ridiculous.
It's awful. Everyone hates that dress.
Yeah, well, I got the Yunsil one.
I have that one too. Yeah.
Which took a long time and there's a lot of money, but it's really good. Really good.
I have that too.
Yeah. But it's it's the same price as what the figure was. I mean, the figure still goes for big money now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So the Pascal Lamour was the one who had this this diorama here.
Cool.
And he also had the other two that we showed, the carbon freezing chamber and then the Han and Chewie. So Pascal, thank you very much. We did open it up to some questions from your Facebook group, and Brian Steven, one of the guys that bought, I believe he bought the Batmobile. He said, would he be willing to make a 1/6 scale AT-ST Mandalorian version? What is your thought on that?
Well,
how would you even get it into your house?
Yeah,
it's quite large, I think.
How many goats is that?
If the average goat is like 3 foot tall, looks about 12 goats, I think.
Yeah, that would probably be the size of a person.
No, because the AT-STs, they're only like 3 or 4 times the height of a figure, so it'd be 4 foot tall.
You only get two people in, don't you? Fairly tight side by side.
Yeah.
But it's got to be it's probably 3 or 4 times a figure, isn't it? So
Danny Lee says, how dare they roast the first patron saint of CW? I'm sorry. And then Danny Mario was right. I want a first patron supporter patch or something. We'll get you something, Mario. We'll get you something for the number one. For the first 4 guys, we'll send you something really cool. So
so this is 4 figures tall, based on that image.
Yeah.
I love how David answers yes. If he can do the Batwing, he can do a small run of this. Like, wait, what? We're asking Joost, not David. Oh, man, your group is amazing. So Roy says, is this the last year?
Maybe. I want to say maybe. I'm not going to say no. 4 figures high is doable. Because if you look at the cockpit thing, that's reasonable. And then the rest is... so it's not... Yeah. It's going to be expensive, though. That's got to be expensive because to get this thing to support itself. I don't know if you ever had the old Kenner ones from the 80s. Those things were a nightmare to get stand. So I remember that,
especially with all that weight.
The button on the back that you
press. Exactly.
That's the one I know. Yeah.
Sean Pierce says he paid the down payment on the Falcon DX. I don't know right now, but
thanks, Sean.
Dean, just remember you have extended payment plans. I think on that Falcon, you could.
If the Rona chills by the end of what do I have till the end of May?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to take a pay cut at work. If I could get that back by the end of May, that's I'm legitimately considering.
Yeah.
Roy Visser says, "Is last year's rumored Ray's speeder still coming? Would complete the pair together with Luke's."
Hey, fellow Dutchie. Yes, it is coming. But
That's a good one.
but I think I won't be able to announce or release that until second part of this year.
Yeah, man, we got so many bad influences in the chat. They're all saying, "Do it," to Dean.
I know everybody.
Carlos says, "Would you ever do a batsuit display like the one from BVS?" I actually talked to you about that. I think on our second interview, but that would be a good idea to do.
I'm definitely interested to do that.
The Batcave with the DX extension kit.
Yeah, but isn't there something like that on the market?
There
There's
was a
Vault,
third-party
isn't there?
company. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So they
What was that, Ian?
There's I think they call it the Vault, but it's
Yeah.
from the Keaton Batman, I think, from Returns.
I remember seeing one last year. There was a company that was making one. I don't know if they ever actually released it, but it was with that stucco back or whatever, like that design from BVS.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they ever
I
put
know.
it out though, but
So
yeah.
if no one has ever done it, then I'm definitely interested after the bat signal.
Because that would be pretty easy. Just some cast acrylic and then bend it to shape, cut it, and then just the background. That probably 3D print that. That wouldn't be too hard.
Easy project. That would be nice.
Yeah, so big shout out to our Patreon subscribers. We have 4 so far: Dan Lee, Ben Porter, Mario Cortez, and Stephen Kret. Sweet angels, patron saints. We'll have to get them something nice, Dean, for being one of our first 4 supporters.
Hell yeah,
And
dude.
do any of you guys have any questions for Joost? I don't want to take too much of his time this evening, but we had obviously a lot of questions from the people watching live. What do you guys think? Do you guys have anything you want to add? Or Joost, is there any shout outs you wanted to give?
I have a question.
All right.
Are you an angel?
Quoting
That's my
Anakin
boy.
to be really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to ask you. I missed a bit with the Falcon. Are you planning any modifications for the Falcon? Because I made a few to mine.
The Lego Falcon.
The Lego Falcon. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, I don't have anything planned for the Lego Falcon yet. I did check. There's a lot of cool stuff out there already with different supports, and there's the Chinese docking bay A94, or what is that?
Oh, that's huge. Yeah.
Zack, remind me, what's the name of the company that does the stackable shelves?
The
displays?
stackable shelves? IKEA?
Yeah, No. The one we were talking about with Matt Mangum.
Okay.
Magicase?
Yeah, Magicase makes a case for the Falcon.
Oh, okay.
The UCS Falcon. It's like a coffee table, right, Zach?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's sweet. I almost want the Falcon just so I can get it.
Average Collector asks, are there any plans to build the A-Wing or maybe even the Jedi Speeder?
The Jedi Speeder.
Dude, that'd be
when I saw that thing,
That
I was
would be
like,
mad.
"Oh man, why didn't I think of that?" So I've said, and I'll stick by that. If Hot Toys doesn't release it, if it's not in the displays, well, there's not going to be a San Diego Comic-Con this year, right?
No.
Well, I last year I said if it's not on the display stand San Diego Comic-Con this year, I'm gonna do it because I want one. It's beautiful. It's a very cool design. There's a very cool Hot Toys figure to go with that. So I'm very interested in the speeder. I wasn't a big fan of the A-Wing. What do you guys think?
Ooh,
Not a big fan
Not
of the A-Wing.
massively. No.
Nah.
It's a decent size that it would actually be kind of doable, but
Yeah.
I'd almost want the Jedi.
Like the Jedi Starfighter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a similar size.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The A-Wing's always been my least favorite.
Yeah.
So to answer that, I want a snow speeder. I want to do something with a TIE fighter, maybe an X-Wing cockpit, the Jedi fighter, Rey speeder. Those are things, if I can keep doing what I'm doing, those just matter of time. Those are coming. A-Wing, I'm not so
Dude,
sure.
the
Do you know what
X-Wing
I'd like?
cockpit would be sweet.
I'd like one of the though. Do you know the arm the Emperor's on in the last Star Wars film
Oh,
with
yeah.
a dirty ass mummified Emperor. That would be
Crusty
sweet.
Emperor.
Yeah, a nice crusty Emperor on an arm would be perfect.
That is a very cool design. That is a very cool design. Hang on, let me get my list.
Yeah, let's bust out the list.
Yeah,
Let's break some news on CW.
because I've got your throne, your Emperor's throne,
Right.
and I love it because it's a decent size. It's not like the Hot Toys one where it's like an
It's too
itty bitty
small, right?
throne. Way too
Yeah.
small. Like the feet don't. It's just this is brilliant because everything's in proportion. But I was so surprised about how heavy it was when the postman knocked at the door and he's like, "Oh, here you go." I was like, "Whoa, thank you." Like, if I wanted to, I could kill someone with it. It's hefty.
Yeah, and
But
it's
awesome.
Some sharp angles. That's true.
Yeah.
Mario
Look,
Cortez says he just ordered the DX Falcon cockpit. Thanks, enablers. What a guy.
Yeah, look, even my sister's jumping in on the bandwagon, trying to get me to order.
He said there's no such thing as reasonable collectors.
I want that cockpit, dude.
Yeah.
There's so much I want. I can't go for it. I want that, and I want that, and I want that, and I want that, and I want that. But then I think,
I just
Dude,
need
hey,
some.
Corona's just hit. I've had a pay cut. I'm very poor, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm thinking
we
about
need to eat?
pre-ordering it, and then I was like, wait, I have other pre-orders.
Yeah.
I was like, where do I put my priorities?
So now that I've got you guys all together, can I ask your feedback? Because I'm looking at my list, and I got a couple ideas I want to run
it by me.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Ox
definitely.
exclusive.
Just thinking outside the box, like how are you guys with Iron Man? Do you like Iron Man stuff?
I like Iron Man stuff.
I like,
like-
it, but it's kind of run its course for me.
All right, yeah. Because I was thinking like they never did the drones from Iron Man 2. Thought that might be cool.
Which one was the drones from Iron Man?
yeah.
Oh yeah,
The whole
actually,
suit of
Oh,
armor.
that would be brilliant.
the Marines and the Air Force and the
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool.
yeah.
And so, I've also been asked about maybe doing like a conversion kit for the DeLorean because I'm not going to touch
Yes.
Would
the
love that. Would love
100%.
that.
Yes. Yep. Do it. Please do it. Please.
Yeah, I've never
Yost,
seen him so
I
excited.
have an idea for you here. I tried
Zack, sharp. We want to hear more about DeLorean.
No.
Stop.
We'll get back to the DeLorean,
yeah,
but don't ever talk about that again. I tried to make this work, but I just don't have the mold making abilities that you have. The Chrysler Eagle and 6 scale. I know we talked about it on our first episode. It would be good for like a Predator, Batman, Spider-Man, like any hero that perches on things. Goats could even stand on it, frankly.
Yeah.
And the Chrysler Eagle actually isn't that big. I think in true 1/6 scale, it's only like 12 inches front to back, or maybe a little bit more, because there's some references of people working on this to install lights. And I mean, they have to kind of like crawl to get into this thing to work on it. So that would be my suggestion for you. But I'll let you get back to your list. I don't want to make Ian any more mad than I already have.
I just added it to the list. So
Hell yes.
so like the Falcon ramp.
Love it. We've got a few comments for that in the chat.
Right.
Yeah, the ramp would be really good.
And what about like Rhino from the Spider-Man movies?
I've seen a few
Oh,
people in your
yeah.
group ask for that, but if I remember correctly, he's only in the movie like not very long.
It's right at the
6
end.
seconds.
It's like a
Right
little-
at the end. Yeah.
yeah. What's
Alright,
your
yeah.
minimum kind of numbers or anything that you need to kind of go ahead with? Because you got to think about, I guess, a lot of your big sellers are Star Wars because there's a huge market for that, and obviously with the Batman and stuff as well. But I think things like that, like the Spider-Man, there's not a lot of collectors. I think, especially for the earlier ones.
One of these.
It kind of reminds me of Kane from RoboCop.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That would be cool.
Zach, what about one of these?
Nah.
Ah.
No.
So other stuff that I have here is the Guardians of the Galaxy cockpit. Is something I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. That would
The
be cool.
Milano. Yeah.
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 How
Everyone's
about
saying
Yellow
DeLorean.
Jacket? That never appeared. Yellow Jacket from the
Yeah.
very first Ant-Man movie.
Be interesting.
Ooh,
Correct, yeah.
vintage viewport.
I really like that design.
Chris says he'd
Yeah,
love
I
to see
think
the
so.
Patrol Trooper speeder from the Solo movie, or even Han Solo's car from the beginning of the movie. I like that design,
Hmm.
that blue vehicle that he uses. Maybe just a thought, Joost. Anakin's pod racer.
Ooh.
There's an older Hasbro figure that goes for pretty cheap. I don't remember if he has the actual helmet, but
Yeah, I think he
that
does.
craft isn't
I think
very
it does,
big.
yeah.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that might be an idea.
The van from Endgame, a whole ass van.
Does it come with a little rat?
Right?
That's up to
Actually,
you.
that rat was the goat. That whole movie wouldn't have started if it wasn't for that rat.
See, I'm thinking I'm on a big aliens push at the moment. I'm thinking APC cockpit or cargo area.
Ooh, hell yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
You couldn't build the vehicle. The vehicle would be
It's
huge.
massive.
Yeah, it is massive because I think it's meant to hold like 18 personnel in the back. So yeah, but maybe the kind of the back section with the control panel and seats and stuff, that would be good. But again, because they're older figures and they're not making them now, it's a case of how big that audience would be for that kind of thing. But
Exactly. I don't know if there's going to be
No.
enough.
no,
And other stuff that I had back in the Star Wars, how about stuff like maybe like a Wampa or a Bantha or a
Ooh.
Rancor? Any of those?
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Ton-
Sideshow is making the Rancor in 6 scale.
Who is?
Sideshow?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let me
It's
see. if I
not
can-
true 6 scale, but it's close.
I'd be
Yeah.
up for a posable Tauntaun,
Ooh, yeah, that would be good.
Mm.
definitely.
I was trying to think of someone cool from like episode 7. But
This is the deluxe. It's $1,300.
How did I miss this?
I don't know, man. We talked about it on the show when it came. I'm just kidding.
But is it 6 scale?
It's
Yeah,
close.
well,
It's
about
like
maybe.
1/7 scale, I think.
Yeah.
Someone did the math.
It's like I think 12 goats high.
Well, that's about 23 goats high. So
Oh shit! Okay,
Don't come
well,
at the
6
scale
counts
like that.
wide.
It's actually 1 real goat high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what other cool things you could do.
yeah, look,
Dagobah-
Falcon
Dagobah-
maintenance room, ESV.
Dagobah, Yoda's hut.
Well, Sideshow did that one
Right.
already.
They did, but a long time ago, and I'm sure you could do better than that.
Is there anything cool in the Mandalorian that we want to see other than the ATST?
The cockpit of the
Razor's Quest, yeah.
Razor Crest.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be fucking amazing. Maybe the what's the armor's workstation would be cool.
Oh,
That's true because it's got the little locker you could put your baby Yods in.
Yeah. I'm telling you, the 1-to-1 scale pram. Telling you, we're these sweet angels right here.
Man,
yeah.
I'm sure I could think of 1,000 things.
Yeah.
But
Well, I got a lot of
fun.
stuff, but those are a bit more out there. So people are saying Ronan from the Guardians.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah, that's
Ronan's a
Is
cool
that the
bad
blue guy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
hammer.
destroyer.
Scaletta did one.
Oh.
They made a full figure.
Oh.
Um,
What about a monolith?
hey, don't fucking come at me like that. We made so I was really inspired by Yoast projects.
I'm
and
not
we made
kidding.
monoliths.
I
No, but
literally
Ma-
have
no,
my monolith right here, and I was
Master
like,
Replicas
"Ooh."
made a 6-scale monolith.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah,
I wasn't knocking you. I love my monolith.
dude, I love mine
I
too.
keep it right here. Look, I think
Mine's
I'm
next to my
bluffing.
Terminator.
That's right here.
Wait, no, this way.
It'd be such a simple thing to sell.
But
And
it's
what
stunning.
Admiral Akbar. How about that one?
Ooh, Admiral Racker would be
That
cool.
would be cool.
The goat.
That would be very cool.
That's a very simple outfit too.
So have you released a figure yet? The first one you're working on is the
Iron Scavenger?
the Vulture, is it?
Iron Scavenger.
Yeah. So how obviously, I'd love it if you started making figures. I think that'd be great. Are you building your own body, or are you using a kind of off the shelf option for the base bodies?
Bit of in between. So with the Iron Scavenger, we've gotten we found a supplier thanks to the guys at I'm blanking, totally black out here. I'm so sorry. It'll come to me. His guy's name is Brian James Sullivan from Black Ops Toys. There you go.
Okay.
And so
nice.
he put me in touch with the supplier, and together we're working on customizing a body, so it is going to be specifically made to suit this, but it looks very much like a standard 6-scale body.
Yeah.
So they're also helping us with because they have experience with outfits and stuff that we don't have. So yeah.
Joost, I got an idea for you. The back to tank, either from Empire Strikes Back or Rogue One,
That's a good one.
because it has that pillars
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
kind of hard for me to do, and then the cylinder was kind of hard to source. I would be very tempted by that one, and then the back to tank, obviously with Luke in there. That's
And
kind
his
of
pants
iconic.
and his big nappy.
I have one idea.
What do you got, Dean?
And the Falcon's a big thing, so I guess size isn't really that big of an issue. But I was
That's
like,
what you
what
said.
in my collection do I have? So I turned around, I saw all my clones, a gunship like
Oh.
door where they could all stand and like hold on.
Oh hell yeah, dude! that's
That
really
would
good.
be sick to have like 4 or 5 clones like standing next to each
And
other
Yoda.
with the sliding door, dude.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
A 1/6 collecting weekly studio.
I
Just throwing it out
I quite like the bridge of like the Star Destroyer. You know when you get all the bounty hunters all lined up.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That would
yeah.
be pretty cool.
That's
I've
a
heard
good
that one before. That's actually
there. Maybe the
Or like the windows where Vader stares out.
Yeah,
That's
the
sweet.
Mustafar platform. I think that was something you were thinking about doing in the past, Joost. The with Anakin and
I did.
Obi-Wan fought.
Yeah, I was asked about that, and but I think another guy picked that ball up and started running with it. Who is this?
Gotcha.
Who?
No, I don't know his name. I'm sorry. I was just saying. Like I remember that other customizer did do one.
I think it's Jason Hodges. He does some amazing work. I think he did that. So
Yeah.
of all the things that we've discussed over the last 5 minutes, what are you most excited about?
I think I'm most excited about the clone, the
DeLorean.
clone thing.
Okay, let's
the
get back to the
DeLorean.
DeLorean. So that's a conversion to what, the second movie?
Maybe
Yeah.
make
The third movie with the wheels.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know what
Evil
else could be
would
cool?
Fantastic.
Especially with Krennic coming out, the computer section at the end of the movie where she's transmitting the codes, like that platform, Jyn Erso and Krennic
Yeah.
stand up.
Don't love
Because
it.
he's coming out. That'd be cool because that's a pretty relatively simple.
Milano
platform.
cockpit in the chat and Republic gunship got some good feedback there.
Yeah, the
Right.
gunship that's a fire
It's a
idea.
good idea, dude.
I mean, I know I came up with this. I can't really say it's fire, but it's fire.
Objectively speaking, you think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Dean.
So, any other feedback?
No, I think you're just doing some great stuff
I think
for
it's
the
just
community.
a matter of time before my money becomes your money. Only feedback
I'm
I have.
thinking the moment my pay cut's lifted, I know my first extra bit of money's going.
What
I just-
specifically?
If you do the DeLorean, I'll give you my one remaining kidney. I'll have the
I've
conversion.
never
kit for that.
seen him jump at something so
I
fast
know.
before.
Who got the other one?
I want to see that like slow mode, like you could just see his brain process the word DeLorean and then like
I was like,
jump
yeah.
out of his chair. That's
Someone
gonna be
take a
great.
screen grab of that moment. Send it to me.
Yeah, by far the DeLorean conversion kit is the thing that's got me the most excited.
Oh,
By
that's
far.
amazing. I love that.
Because I mean,
idea.
all I've done with my DeLorean that's not stock is I managed someone did a run of like the weather vanes,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah.
But if it was like even if it was like just the Back to the Future 2 conversion kit would be awesome. I mean, but the third with the wheels, you know, with the wheels without the tires on and the bit on the front
Yeah,
would just be
that'd be cool. Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, because I mean, the Hot Toys DeLorean is good, it's great, but there's loads missing. They have.
Well, you were looking about doing some of the lighting kit, weren't you, Ian, as well?
Yeah, like all the trunking around it. There's loads missing off of that. And
Yeah.
the inside hasn't really got a
Ooh.
proper floor and stuff like that. And it
Yes,
just
I got an idea
if
for
there was
you.
a conversion kit, it'd be all right.
Yeah.
Kylo's tie silencer cockpit.
Oof,
Oh,
That would
that's a
be
good one.
that would be
That is a good
spicy.
one.
That's a good one.
Is that so different from the regular TIE fighter then?
Oh, it's totally different.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like
He's pimped it out.
lighter.
Yeah, it's not a
Kind of
sphere.
more
It's
squashed
Yeah.
down.
Average
Oh.
Collector says the DeLorean conversion kit will sell lots of fans on Tashi.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a. I mean, I don't know the logistics of converting it, but it seems like it wouldn't be a lot of material. It would be something easy to ship, something that.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've been
Yeah.
asked a million times. So, and anytime I get an idea that strikes something with me that I get excited about, and I hear a lot, then that goes on the list. So that's why I had it on top of the list.
Yeah, that's a
Do
great.
the
idea.
wheels just click on and off, Ian? You can just
No, you get the little so there's the little DMC little logo.
Yeah.
You pop that out and there's a screw. You undo
Okay,
that and the wheel
yeah.
come off. So I've seen people kind of do conversions for the Back to the Future 2 wheels,
for
but
the hover wheels. Yeah, that'd
yeah,
be cool
but-
as well.
yeah.
So,
So, yeah,
but it
they-
is because I didn't have an excuse yet to buy, and now I do to buy the DeLorean. But you can take parts off then quite easily.
yeah. So the wheels come off if you pop out the DeLorean bit and there's a screw behind there. Then all the trunking that goes all around the outside that comes separate anyway. So you have to clip that on when you get it.
Yeah.
And then I think the bonnet lifts up because that's where you can put the batteries in, but it's got a power supply built into the bottom that you can plug into. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You clip the side bits on and the wheels can come off. But looking at, say if it's Back to the Future 3, most of the work would be at the tail end of it. So yeah, that
Or
third
even
would
a
probably
Back
be
to
the
the Future
trickiest.
2 and 3 kit.
Yeah,
Options. I like it.
Yeah, like a DX.
Do the train as well. That would be awesome.
Yeah, there's the whole train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about how many goats length that train is. Yeah.
63.
Yeah, maybe just a whole
63
western
now.
town while you're at it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Westworld. Yeah,
Yeah.
as well, yeah.
Oh God.
Make me Hill Valley.
Oh, you know, what'd be sweet.
The clock tower.
The
Yeah.
That would be pretty
a
cool.
6-scale car from Blade Runner.
Ooh, yeah. I was telling
Spinner.
Yost I want him to make the K spinner from 2049.
That'd
That would be
sweet.
dope.
Yeah.
Or even a smaller project, Yost, a 1/6 scale HAL 9000 with the voice and the light.
Oh yeah.
I would
Yeah.
buy the.
I would
F
love
out
a
of
HAL
that.
9000, dude.
And
There's
use the
the-
sound module that we designed.
Yeah, exactly. I would buy, like, even just make it a full panel of the ship. Oh man, with the screen, I would buy that so fast. Oh man, that
What
would
do
be
you think?
amazing.
I know we can't do that, Dave.
Yeah, such a good movie.
Do
my
that
God.
too. Wow.
For the last 10 minutes, this is effectively exactly how it is in any of the comments when Joost posts anything. He's
Yeah,
like,
we-
"Look at this,
I think I just made fun of those guys a minute ago, and we're doing it.
yeah, we're doing exactly the same thing.
Collecting Weekly Live, where we just yell at Yost.
Yeah, make me things.
Oh boy,
Ooh, an Oblivion drone?
All
That's a good idea.
which one's Oblivion drone? Which one's that one?
Oblivion's the movie with Tom Cruise where he's on Earth, and like there's like promise to go to Titan.
Never seen it.
Oh,
His
dude,
little
it's
helicopter thing.
Yeah.
I would.
such a perfect.
This is
Fly-
an
they
older
think flies,
figure, but I would love the exoskeleton from Elysium.
Ooh.
Yep.
It's funny that you mentioned the exoskeleton because
Ooh.
might have something in the works
Ooh.
for the what is that movie? Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Tom Cruise
Yes.
one, yeah.
Oh,
That is one of my
dude.
favorite movies.
I've
Zach
seen
bought
that.
me that movie.
I don't know, a half a dozen times. It works. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. I would probably, if there's a good payment plan on that one, I would probably buy it.
I'm gonna watch that movie tonight, dude.
I got you that movie
Yeah,
in
You
Voodoo.
did, because I was
So-
talking about it. I don't even remember why I was talking about it on the show, but I was like, "This movie's so cool. No one's ever heard of it."
It is so good. It is so
Yeah.
good. So I want to wait a little bit more to see how the new design and producing mechanisms are going to work for the Iron Scavenger. But if that works out, then that exoskeleton might be next.
My gosh, bless your heart. My gosh.
Ooh, John Martino in the chat,
Look at John, sweet angel. John, you're welcome. We need to have John on the show soon.
dude. I can't believe we haven't had John on the show.
I think I asked him one time, and then he said he didn't want to.
Oh my
He didn't
God.
want to do any podcasts, but
Breaking my heart.
maybe if his schedule is a little light, maybe you can get him on. But that's pretty much all I got for this episode, Yost. Thank you so much for your time. I just genuinely appreciate it. Do you have
Yeah.
any shout outs you wanted to give to any people, anyone watching, or
Yeah, well, there's so many. I mean, I want to thank my parents. No, I want to like Ryan to get the ball rolling on the Batmobile, and Robert for his help, and of course my lovely wife and son and father for all they do to get this stuff, this passion project, and keeping it going. And you guys for talking about it. And the last time I was walking my dog listening to one of your podcasts, and I heard my stuff come up. I just sat down on a bench, and I just,
what a guy.
It just blows my mind that there's people all over the world excited about the stuff that we do. I'm just incredibly thankful that we can, as long as we can keep doing this, we're gonna. So thanks, you guys.
Brilliant.
Oh, Sean says he definitely ordered the Falcon. Good for Sean. Good for Sean. Well,
man.
shout out to everyone. I'm Zach.
I'm Dean.
I'm Ian.
Damn it, Pete. Damn it, Pete.
He got late.
I was going to let Joost go first.
Sweet angel. What a guy.
Very nice.
I dropped
Save
in
the
late.
best
so-
for last, Pete. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, what a guy. Big shout out to our Patreons. Check us out, patreon.com/collectingweekly. Check out Jazz Inc Dioramas at jazzincdioramas.com or email them at info@jazzincdioramas.com. That's a great episode, guys. Thanks so much. This will be a bonus episode. It should be going up tomorrow, Friday. So you guys will have something to listen to on repeat over the weekend. So thanks again, Joost. Have a good rest of your day.
It was a blast.
Thanks, Joost.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Dean, you got to make that purchase, bro.